All right. Today we're going to be talking about inverse proportion. It occurs when one value increases and the other decreases. So take an example of some workers working on a building or building a house. Okay. Imagine that if we put more workers on it, the faster the house or the building will finish, right? Okay. So notice here, the more number of workers we put, the less time we need to finish the house. So in that case, we call them inversely proportional, right? Okay. So the equation of for inverse proportion is k is equal to x times y, or x equals to k over y. Yeah, if we move the y to the left side, it will be k over y, right? So both of them are just the same. So we have example here. 10 identical taps can fill a tank in 4 hours. Calculate the time taken for 8 such taps to fill in the same tank. So notice here, the amount or the number of the identical taps decreases, right? Okay. So what will happen if is that the time we need to fill the tank will increase, right? So the less taps there are, the more time we will need. So it will be inverse proportional, right? Okay. So we form the equation first, which I already taught in previous video in the direct proportion, that we should put um, same classification of things, yeah, in one row. So for example, for tabs, we need to put them both on top while the hours on the bottom. It can be the reverse also, so hours on the top, tabs on the bottom, like that. Now that is for direct proportion. Now what's the difference in the inverse proportion is, because it is inverse, right? So we need to swap the top one. Yeah. So on the screen you can see what we do. On the second step is we swap the tabs. So from 10:8 to 8:10, and the bottom remain the same. Okay. So that's it. That's all the difference. And then we can continue the same way. Yeah, cross multiplication, and then the x is 5 hours. So again, we should check that if it makes sense or not. So 10 taps decreases to 8 taps. Now it will take longer to fill the tank, from 4 hours to 5 hours. It makes sense, right? So it's just to make sure that you don't do it the wrong way, okay? Another example. So a box of pens given to 25 children, they get 2 pens each. Now the number of children is reduced to 10. So logically, each children will get more pens, right? Right. So number of children decreases, the number of pen they each get increases. So it's also inverse proportion. So again, the same way, form the equation first, and then you just swap the top, and then cross multiplication, and then done. So now each children get 5 pens. Okay, this is another example, which is a more difficult one, just a bit. So we are talking about 3 things here. There are 3 elements: men, houses, days. So 5 men can paint 2 houses in 3 days. Now the question asks if there was 10 men to paint 8 houses. So how many days will it take? So, okay, we need to do this in 2 steps because there are 3 elements, right? If there are only 2 elements, like those previous question, 2 elements, we just need 1 step, right? Just do it once, done. Now 3 elements, we need to do it twice. So firstly, we compare the men and houses first. So if you find the relation first, so we just leave the days first. We're gonna deal with it in the second step. So we're gonna do it twice. So firstly, men and houses was 5 and 2, right? Initially, look at the question again. 5 men can paint 2 identical house, right? So let's change the men to 10 because the question asks how long will it take to 10 men to paint 8 such houses. So we need 10 men here, right? So 10 men. So let's count or calculate how many houses can they build, right? So we use the direct proportion because the more the men, the more houses can they build, right? So use the direct proportion way, find the y. Okay, so 10 men can build 4 houses. That's it. That's the first step. Now we go to the second step. Because the amount of men is already 10, it's already what the question requires you. So now we go to houses. So houses and days. So we are comparing houses and days. We also put them in equation, and it is also a direct proportion. Why? Because the more houses you build, the more time you will take, right? So direct proportion, and you get 6 days finally. So that means, again, the question asks us 10 men to build 8 houses, right? How long it will take? It will take 6 days. That's it. So that is all for the inverse proportion. I hope you understand. And see ya later.